Before we start rolling, I'll ask you to subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all the most interesting things happening in the Star Wars universe. We always collect the most interesting and reliable information about new TV series, movies, and games. We will be grateful to everyone who subscribes. May the Force be with you. You'll probably be very surprised, but more than 2 years have passed since the release of the Book of Boba Fett. The announcement of this project happened quite unexpectedly, right at the end of the second season of The Mandalorian, and at the end we got a story about how the once greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy decided to change and live in the name of justice. The series came out quite ambiguous and divided fans into two camps, but it is worth admitting that each of its episodes intrigued in its own way. The Book of Boba Fett had its own unique style and was filled with many interesting cameos like Luke Skywalker and Grogu, Ahsoka, Black Chrysanthemum, Din Djarin, and Cad Bane. And what really sticks with me is the soundtrack from composer Ludwig Göransson, who set the mood for the whole series and, in my opinion, can undisputedly take a place among the best Star Wars soundtracks. And although the story got a logical conclusion, the authors of the Book of Boba Fett left the door open for a possible sequel, and throughout the year after the end of the series, various insiders talked about how Lucasfilm was working on the second season, since both the company and the audience were mostly satisfied with the project. But at some point, everything slammed shut so abruptly and unexpectedly that actor Temuera Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, even thought about his imminent dismissal. Nevertheless, Boba's story will be continued, but not as a separate series. This sequel will become part of the film Mandalorian and Grogu. In addition, Boba may receive another project dedicated to him and his sister Omega. Today, I will tell you everything in detail: why Lucasfilm decided to cancel the second season of the Book of Boba Fett, why Temuera Morrison thought he was going to be fired, and what kind of new series is being dedicated to Omega and Boba. Boba Fett is a really iconic character because his persona gave birth to the entire Mandalorian culture. Lucasfilm always wanted to dedicate a separate project to him, and the first of such projects was to be the video game Star Wars 1313, in which the young Boba was destined to play the main role. The novice bounty hunter would chase all sorts of scum on the lower levels of Coruscant and slowly get involved in the criminal world, but unfortunately, this ambitious game was cancelled. The second project was planned to be a feature film with an 18+ rating from James Mangold. The development of Boba's solo film started in 2016 but has not progressed beyond the concepts. Around the same time, Han Solo's feature film was released, which did not recoup the money invested in it. Then Lucasfilm made the strange decision to completely immerse themselves in the series and cancelled all the films that were at different stages of development at that time. The third attempt to bring Boba Fett back to the screens turned out to be more successful. The legendary bounty hunter returned majestically in the second season of The Mandalorian, and then finally received the long-awaited Solo series. In fact, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have always been big fans of Boba Fett. For them, this hero has a special meaning, which is why they treat him in a special way. The Book of Boba Fett series has become something like the fulfillment of a childhood dream for the authors, but for Lucasfilm, the project has become an experiment that cannot be called completely successful. Yes, people liked the series and the company liked it, but it collected fairly average sales of paid subscriptions to Disney+. Favreau and Filoni wanted to make a sequel and discussed it with Lucasfilm bosses for a long time, and some work was definitely underway in this direction, but everything changed when the Disney Corporation decided to optimize its business. Shareholders were unhappy because the corporation suffered huge losses due to a series of failed projects in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so Disney began mass layoffs and reshuffles not only there, but also at Lucasfilm. Several projects under development have been cancelled, and some have simply been frozen indefinitely. The second season of the Book of Boba Fett has just been frozen. Temuera Morrison, the performer of the role of Boba Fett, spoke a little about this strange situation in an interview. According to the actor, they really discussed the continuation of Boba's solo series, and Lucasfilm kind of started preparing for development. However, As soon as Disney began cleaning inside its studios, work on the second season was suspended and disturbing rumors began to reach Tamura himself. Various acquaintances at the company told him that Lucasfilm had to cut a lot of people who worked on the first season of the series, and these cuts affected mainly the technical and scenario department. At some point, Tamura simply lost touch with the company, and it began to seem to him that he might also be fired. It is clear that Lucasfilm would not fire such an important actor who has an equally important character assigned to him, but Tamura himself was a little tense. Fortunately, the business corporation had completed the optimization and the development of the sequel to Boba Fett's series has gone further, but not in the form in which it was originally planned. Lucasfilm decided to cancel the full-fledged second season and transfer all its developments to the fourth season of The Mandalorian, and later decided to turn this very fourth season into a full-length film, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Disney's new policy no longer allows the authors to shoot many different series. Now, the corporation is much more interested in making a profit, so they decided to lump everything together. Thus, the story of Boba Fett, which was intended for the second season of the series, was completely transferred to the new film. Is this the right decision? Write your opinion in the comments. Maybe Lucasfilm wants as many famous characters as possible to be involved in the new film so that it looks like the Avengers. Also, about a year ago, insiders shared information that Lucasfilm was hatching plans to create a new animation project, the main characters of which would be young Boba and Omega from the Bad Batch, because according to the new canon, they are brother and sister, the very first clones of Jango Fett. Upon learning that she has such a close brother, Omega would go in search of him and have a positive influence on Boba, thanks to which the bounty hunter would think for the first time about changing life priorities, and this would answer the question of why Boba became so soft in the series. It is still unknown whether this animation project is actually being developed, but this information is similar to the truth. Anyway, we just have to wait for the Star Wars Celebration 2025 event, where Lucasfilm will announce many new projects. I think then we will get answers to all our questions and find out what the future holds for Boba Fett. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, write your opinion in the comments, and like the video if it was interesting to you. Thank you all very much for watching. See you soon. May the Force be with you.